I'm here with Katie Alexander. She works for the CSU Extension in Montrose, Colorado, and we're going to be talking about water. Katie, thank you for meeting with me today. My first question is, what's a favorite memory you have personally around water?
So as a child growing up with my dad, I think probably my favorite water memory is going to Lake Powell and spending a week camping down there. And we lovingly referred to our boat as the Moldy Crow. It broke down a time or two. Might have been swamped once or twice in a couple storms, but we always made the time to go down once or twice a summer. And went camping as a family. I spent time with my aunt and uncle and my cousins and just had a great time. So I actually married into the farming and ranching community. My dad was a civil engineer. We built subdivisions. We'd take those beautiful alfalfa fields and turn them into houses. And I met my husband in high school in FFA, which used to be called Future Farmers of America. So that probably would be my first real experience with irrigating and going out and riding the four-wheeler with him and changing gated pipe and head gates and dirt ditches and stuff like that on our property. Well, it wasn't at the time, but it is now our property, yes.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you have learned as a rancher when it comes to water as a resource?
Well, using our water effectively. One of the really cool things that we have in our valley here in the Uncompahgre is we use and reuse our water. And so, our water comes out of the Uncompahgre River into canal systems and then goes essentially back into ditches that continue on down from South Montrose to Olathe. I would say professionally through my job, I've always worked with water in some way, shape, or form, natural resources. Mm-hmm. And growth in our community, we've had those 40, 100-acre farms have been cut up into 5-acre farms and 10-acre farms. And so I think the challenges and the changes that I have seen is people moving in that don't understand how the water works within this area. How, you used to have water for 40 acres and now you split it up and you have multiple owners and dealing with those challenges and scheduling type irrigation systems. When you're spreading irrigation water, the volume across the field and stuff, you're pushing what looks like a large amount and then you're moving it in sets. And when you start subdividing that, you're splitting it differently. And so you're not pushing that same volume of water through those little sets in that same amount of time. So you're breaking it up more. And so then it's not getting used as efficiently as it used to be. Until you start actually seeing it and working with it, it kind of seems like a foreign concept. But the more it gets smaller and smaller, so you have these shares that are smaller and smaller, it gets harder and harder to irrigate those smaller acreages. Whereas originally a 40-acre piece had essentially enough water to irrigate all 40 acres, but you moved it in a volume across that field. And then the other challenge is we have a lot of people that are moving from outside of Colorado that don't understand water law in general for Colorado. They don't understand what their shares are, and then visually just grasping what their shares equate to is a challenge as well. Both sides of the valley, within the Uncompahgre Valley Water Users District, they're different volumes by a little bit. And essentially one share of their water is a garden hose running 24/7. But, really, when you have 10 acres and you only have that, a volume that's 10 garden hoses across, what does that really get you? Can you move each set across your field? Whereas when you had 40 acres and here you had this really big volume, you could get across it better with that 40 garden hoses. We've come to respect it a lot more. And two, we put in a improved irrigation system probably a couple of years right before our first child was born. And so what that meant was we worked with the USDA branch of the NRCS, and we put in an improved irrigation system on our property, because originally we had dirt ditches and stuff where we would use either siphon tubes with tarps or blocks, and then you would just flood over. And so within that system, we had an engineer work with us. We put in underground and gated pipe. We were able to put in sets so that we could open and close more easily. These lined pipeways, and that probably cut and saved us a week's worth of transitions when we're irrigating through our property. So it saved us time. It cost us money up front, because we had to buy gated pipe, we had to put the project in. That's expensive, but it saved us quite a bit of work as well. Those would be a huge change, as working towards improving our irrigation systems, and a lot of those types of systems have gone in across our valley and our area as well. I think that as a general statement, a lot of people within our valley that are directly related to farming and ranching have done a really good job of working to save water, so that we're using it more efficiently for the crops that we're growing within our valley.
What are some ways that you're sharing with your kids recreation and water?
Canal safety. No, I'm sorry. That's one of my first thoughts, because that actually has been a conversation that I've been having with the Board of County Commissioners here, because we have had a lot of canal issues and concerns. So maybe not recreation related, but we'll put in a little plug that, when our canals are dangerous. People drowned in them, so you need to be cognitive of that. And so we have one of the larger canals directly behind our house, which a lot of people in this community do. And we're always alliterating with our kids, if a dog falls in, you are not going in after it. We stay away from the canals. We don't go into them. We've tried to take our kids to the reservoirs and stuff here. We do have a boat that is currently out of commission, needs a new engine. But in the past, when it was operating, we would take them to go boating up at Ridgeway Reservoir, even if it's just for a couple hours before the sun sets, taking the opportunity to have that quiet time. I'll tell you, that's a gorgeous lake or reservoir when the sun is setting and it's nice and glass smooth and stuff. I love that.